Hello and welcome to Tutorial Tuesdays, or in this case, Tutorial Wednesday. Today I'm going to keep it short and simple, but something that is very useful if you don't already know how to do it. So, the tutorial today, I'm going to show you how to use node groups and then import them into other scenes for future use. So for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make a basic vignette and then import it into another document to use on other projects. So how to start out is first of all to add a node in the render nodes section, use nodes. You can delete the render layers and input an image. And you can do this with your render too, but I'm just going to grab an image that I've been working on, which is this pond. That is looking pretty decent, not quite there yet, but it's a start. So to make a vignette on an image in Blender, the way that I do it anyway, there are multiple ways to do it, is RGB, node, up it all the way to white, input a distort, scale it to render size, and then I distort it with a lens distortion all the way to 1 to make it ovular, and then I do a color mix and mix it over nothing to make it black, and then I blur it using relative, because that way if you change the render size of your document, then it will stay the same amount blurred relative to the size, and usually around 15 is pretty good for this. So then a lot of people, what they do is just take the vignette and multiply it over, and that is one way of doing it, but it's not as good as what I'm about to show you. So if you take the blurred node and color invert it so the edges are white, then you can use this vignette as a factor for color correction. So RGB curves, shove it into the factor. And the beauty of doing it this way, if you multiply it over, then you just have black edges. If you do it this way, you can darken them, yes, but you can also add color to your vignette. Like, let's say you want it to be a little bit blue around the edges. And that is very useful. So, then, to get to the point of the tutorial, we are going to take this and turn it into a group. You do this by selecting all of the nodes. You can do that with box select. You can select them individually. Whatever, box select is B, by the way. Then you hit Control G, and that will turn them into a node group. Then, just like in mesh edit mode, you can hit tab to go into it, like so. So we have our input for our image, but we also want to, let's say, be able to, I don't know, let's say we want to be able to scale down the vignette or move it, and we want to be able to make that modular, so we want it on the group. We can do that very easily by saying distort, scale. So now we can scale this down. If we look at it, we can leave it at 1, but you can take these values and shove them into the group input. And on the input, you can rename these, so we can say scale X and scale Y. So now when we tab out, we have access to our scales. So you can see that we can scale it very easily just through our node group interface. Then we can do the exact same thing for translating the vignette. So if we take this and we add another distort and a translate, we can shove these inputs over here and rename them if somebody else wanted to use our node, for instance, or if you're using it way down the line and you don't remember what all the inputs did. So trans X and trans Y. Now we can also translate it like so on our node group. So then how you use this in other documents, I told you this tutorial is going to be a quickie. So we can take the node group and name it to vignette, and then we can also change the name here to vignette. Then we can save our document. Let's save it as vignette. Then we can open a new document, and let's say you want to apply that to a different image. Let's go into our node editor. We can click the render nodes and use nodes, and we can input an image, delete our render layer, open up. I just realized that this isn't saved in the same thing, so I'm just going to grab another image that I've been working on, which is this one. I'm doing a set of chairs, if you couldn't catch the theme there. The pond had a chair in it, the backyard has a chair in it. I don't know, I think it's interesting. So, to add the vignette to this, we can go to, first of all, save it. So let's say backyard underscore comp. Then we can go to File, Append, and we can click on our vignette. We can go to Node Tree and click Vignette. Now, if we go to the Add menu, which is Shift-A in the Node interface, we can go to Group, Add Vignette, and all of a sudden we have access to our vignette. And the render size doesn't match, so if you're doing this, you want to do it on your renders, I suppose, because the images aren't going to always be the same size as your render. But a quick fix for that is to distort, scale, and then change it to render size. So now everything will match up. And we can scale our vignette down. Let's say 0.5. Let's say we want the ugliest image of all time, and we can translate it. So that will conclude the very quick tutorial today on how to create node groups and how to use them in other scenes. Hopefully you found that helpful, and if you enjoyed this tutorial, make sure you subscribe for a new tutorial every Tuesday, or in this case Wednesday. And by the way, Happy New Year. I hope you all had a fun time last night. Well, that will be all. I will see you all next week. Bye.